What up, folks? So this is going to be a part 2 to the video that I did yesterday. I'm going to change the title of the previous video because I couldn't get my words together. It's kind of weird that I couldn't get the lingo together, considering the fact that I'm living this experience. I'm going to read you guys something real quick. If y'all watch my videos, that noise y'all hear in the background is my cats taking a drink from the gravity feeder, just in case y'all was curious. Okay, so a mixed family, often called blended family or step family, consists of two partners living together with one or more children from previous relationships, and sometimes children of their own. It combines members from different family units featuring step-parents, step-children, and often biological parents, creating a new combined household structure. And what I was saying yesterday is that there's nothing wrong with a blended family, but you have to understand the facts. You have to understand the reality of it. When you step in, if you're the non-biological parent, especially if you have kids and you're bringing kids into the fold, you are the outsider, not necessarily the enemy, but from the beginning, you're the outsider. Okay. And your children, depending on how young they are, will favor y'all based on the fact that their biological parent is favoring y'all. They will get along based on the fact that, okay, that's my step sibling, that's my step brother, that's my step sister. We basically brother and sister. Okay. You'll have weird things take place. They're gonna act like brothers and sisters. They're gonna act like friends and foes. They're gonna act like people act, right? The same way that you have a family where all of the kids belong to both of the parents, and it's not a blended family, it's a whole family. You're going to have disagreements. You're going to have frustrations. You're going to have problems. When the blended family is structured right and blended right, you're going to have the same freaking problems. The only thing is that line is not going to be visible where, oh, you're not my dad. That's not my real sister. That's not my real brother. You're not my mama. You're not going to hear stuff like that because there's an understanding. You don't have to call, like my stepson He never liked people to call me his dad. He said, your dad, that's not my dad. He would always correct me or correct them. That's cool. I never had no problem with that. But people would say to me, because I call him my stepson, oh, that's your real son. I was like, he's not my biological child. He don't call me his dad, and I don't call him my son. I refer to him as my son. I do, but when you break it down to bare bones and we have a conversation, I'm going to say he's my stepson. I will acknowledge he's my stepson, but I hate for people to correct me and say, oh, that's your stepson, and that's not your stepson. That's your son. You're taking care of him, man. So I say, man, I got to take care of a lot of people. That don't make them my child, you know? So you're going to have little things like that. I remember one time we was at church and my youngest girl was having a conversation with a church member. She was a little thing too. She was about 7 or 8. And the girl said something about, ask your mama. She was like, she looked at my wife and she was like, that's not my mama. My wife was hurt. She got up and later on I found out, well, my wife was crying. She went in the other room and was crying. I was like, dang. She's like, she was bothered by that. And then I said, you know, she dealt with it because it's true. My thing is, you can't disrespect me and me not address it just because I'm not your biological parent. Okay? We had those issues back and forth, and they didn't quite get dealt with. There were some things that was loose, and I'm going to talk about it tomorrow. There were some things that were loose that we didn't quite get around to. But the kids grew up to be pretty good kids. I mean, they had their issues. One of them is not with us anymore. That was hard to deal with. And I'll talk about that. She also had a YouTube channel, and I'll direct you guys to her YouTube channel so y'all can see. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. You have to understand that when you have this blended family thing, I believe in my heart that it can work. It can work like a natural family. You know what I'm saying? A whole family, I guess you could say. Folks, I've met people and their blended family, and I was like, oh yeah, she, you know, and they call him a dad. And they call him, that's my dad, that's my mom. It was like, oh, I was like, oh, so and so is not my real dad. I was like, for real? It was like, wow. It's like, oh man, but I love him to death. He's my guy, and he was there. He was my dad. Never talking bad about the biological parent, just saying that their relationship was great. I wish that mine had went like that, but it didn't go like that. But it's not bad, and I think that it was a great experience for me to share with other people because people have different expectations of what they think a blended family is supposed to be. Folks was like, oh well, it takes time for a blended family to get settled. No, it don't. It takes time for the children to get settled, maybe. But if the parents, the two adults, have the structure down and they sticking to what it's supposed to be like, them kids is the ones that's not getting onto it. But then that come natural. You feel me? It just come natural. They just gonna be rebellious, or they're gonna be on the bandwagon. So, to me, that's like a myth. You know, because like I said, if the mother and father are on track and they keeping things in order, shouldn't have no real problems between the mother and father. It's gonna be up to the kids, and y'all keep the kids straight. Hey, this is law. This is how it's going. You know, we love each other. We got married, and I'm sorry it didn't work out with your mama or your daddy. Hey, it is what it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this video short. I'm gonna do a part 3 tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. When you get ready to go into a blended family, I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it. You have to know what you're doing. You have to have rules and stuff set in place, and you have to stick to it for those children in order for them to benefit from what y'all trying to do, the union that y'all trying to make. Whether they live with y'all or they don't live with y'all, there has to be order in that house. You feel me? In order for things to be as good as they can be. All right? All right, folks. Part 3 tomorrow. Thanks for listening. Hope y'all got something out of it. Peace.